Absolute value functions today? Today I can graph an absolute value equation using a table. Your warm-up. Your warm-up is a y equals mx plus b equation. Can anyone help identify what each piece means?
Mx is the slope.
M is slope.
B is the y-intercept. If it's negative, it goes backwards. If it's positive, it goes forwards. If the B is negative.
So let's look at the next one. Again, this is guided notes. So recall that when we're solving an absolute value, you don't have anything in your notes about this. So just look up here. You don't have to write anything down. Pause. You don't have to write anything down. When we are solving an absolute value, these equations split, where one is positive and one is negative. Okay? That's going to come up when we're graphing. We're essentially going to split and have these two linear equations. Where they intersect is the vertex. Okay? So where it's going to create a V-shaped graph, and it's going to graph basically two linear equations, and it's always going to graph the positive of it. So an absolute value function graphs are V-shaped, okay? This is the absolute value function form, and this is on your paper in your guided notes. So now we're at the part where we're defining this. What do you think m's going to be again? Yep. You've got your B. And we'll explore what C does to your graph in tomorrow's lesson. But we are going to have M, B, and C here. When I'm finding the vertex, I follow this equation. So you need to write this equation in your notes. So first, to find the vertex, the point at the bottom of the V or the top of the V, we're going to take the B divided by the M and make it negative. The Y value is the C. This is just the formula. So for example, if I had this equation, my M is 3, my B is a negative 9, and my C is 0 because there's nothing here. I'm going to plug it into my vertex formula. I'm going to have negative 9 all over 3, and I'm going to take the opposite of that. What's negative 9 divided by 3? 3. Negative 3. And then I take the opposite of that, so it becomes positive 3 down here. C is 0, so I don't have to do anything with that. This is my vertex. This is the point on the graph for the V. The points at the bottom of the V. I already put my vertex in. This is my vertex. I put that in my table. Let's find, for when x is negative 1, what y is. What's the best way to do that? You think graph it? Do you know how to graph this right now? We're going to graph in the ends. What's another strategy we could do just to figure out these values?
Just count backwards.
Count backwards. Plug them in. What's 3 times 1?
3.
What's 3 minus 9? What's the absolute value of negative 6? 6. Oops. My bad. This one's 6. You guys want to find it for negative 1 and 0 and 2? You think you can do that on your paper? We're going to show our steps just like this. Give it a try on your paper. If you need help, let me know. If you're ready, you can check your work. I've got my work up here for finding the y for negative 1. I just plug in negative 1 and solve for y. I got 12. You guys agree? And then for 0, I just plug in 0 and I got positive 9. You agree? And then I solve for when it's 2, I got y. Or sorry, I got y is 3. Any other questions about filling out the table? You ready to graph it?
Yeah.
This is our graph. I can graph it by hand. Do you guys want to see that?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll look at that too. So this is our graph. That's what it should look like. Let's just add in a graph here. to help us out. What's the first point that we should graph?
3, 0.
Why 3, 0?
Because it's on the X.
It's our vertex. We'll start with our vertex. From there, we've got 2. 2, we're up at 3. 1, we're at 6. And here's what I mean about it's a reflection. If I count 2 over, that should be my same y value. If I count 1 more over, do you see how it's a reflection of the other side? And now I could draw, make a sketch. Oops. Once you have 2 other points plotted in the vertex, that should be enough to make a graph. Any questions on making a absolute value graph? This was y equals the absolute value of 3x minus 9. In this example, you have an m, a b, and a c. So start by identifying them. What is m?
-2.
What is b?
6.
What is c?
-4.
Okay, so start by finding the vertex. Go back to your vertex formula. It's the opposite of b over m comma c. That's your vertex formula. Give this one a try. You can talk to someone near you. -2 times -1 is positive 2 plus 6. 2 plus 6 is 8. So you end up with 8 minus 4. I got 4. That's the first one. And then we're just going to continue that. So the next one, I'm going to plug in 0. -2 times 0 plus 6. That's going to turn to 0. Absolute value of 6 is 6 minus 4. We should get 2. And so on. Check your table values. Is this the table you guys filled out? Check your work. I can help you graph it by hand now. We can graph it by hand. Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
So our vertex is positive 3, 1, 2, 3, -4. So that's where our vertex is. From there, I'm going to just start plotting the points that I have. -1 is at positive 4.
Yeah.
Okay. 0 is at 2. 1 is at 0. Oops. Okay. And then we can start reflecting the points. Because the vertex is just the middle. So we should see a reflection over here. Is this similar to what the graph you guys got? Remember to put arrows at the end. It goes on forever. You should label your vertex. That's a special point on these graphs. Any questions on this example? I might add that to my notes there. I might add this to my notes. This is an example of a graph that opens down. Why is that? Anyone see it in the equation? There's a negative out front. Good. So our B is 4. Our M is 2. Is there any C this time? No. Nope, so it's 0. So I'm going to simplify this. -2 comma 0 is my vertex. -2, comma 0 is my vertex. Then I'm going to complete the table. You guys think you can handle it? Can you complete the table? Now we're going to complete the table. You can show your work by plugging it in. Now, with the negative out front, it's going to take our absolute value and make the opposite of that. So we'll be getting some negatives here instead. So inside the absolute value, we get -2 plus 4. That's going to be, it's still going to end up being -2. You can show your work for all of these. We'll check back in a second. Any questions on the table? When we come back from lunch, I want to show you how to graph this on the TI-84. Look at the table so you can check your work. We'll get a TI-84. Everyone on your way back in, grab a TI-84 and we'll show you guys how to do that. Have a good lunch. So we click y equals negative math. Absolute is under number or num. Abs 2x plus 4. Graph. So we'll see the graph. If we go second, graph, we'll see the table and you can check your work.